topic summaries. I don't need any topic summaries. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay. Leave it in your
Uh,
hands then.
yeah, exactly. And we're live. We've actually been live for a little while now. Uh, you guys, Mobile World Congress happened.
Mm-hmm. It did.
Mike, you wanted me to introduce Mobile World Congress news, so I'll
Yes.
tell you. Um, LG released a phone, the G5. Samsung released a phone, the S7, and I guess the S7 Edge. Uh, I- some VR stuff happened, I guess. That's pretty exciting. But other than that, I don't know. I was underwhelmed. This is my first Mobile World Congress that I covered from a news perspective. So there was stuff that happened. Things got announced, and after we recorded last week, I did some writing about what was announced, but it was not super exciting. What did you find, Mike?
I heard about the G5 and
Hmm.
the Magic slot that was rumored that we had talked about in previous weeks. It looks to actually be a fairly handy implementation. People were kind of impressed and I don't know about controversial, but I guess it has a capability of putting in a second battery of some sort.
Yeah,
Like you're able to expand the battery capacity through this Magic slot, uh, similar to how battery cases work, I guess.
yeah.
Um,
The way I understood it, there were different modules you could put
right.
in. So you
Yeah.
could slot in an extra
Yeah.
battery module. You could slot in a camera
Yeah.
module. Yeah, all kinds of different things.
So it almost seems like it's trending toward the modular phone design,
Yeah,
but I think at a level where everyone's comfortable with, and it's not super out there that no one's going to buy into it. Like I think it's a practical implementation of it, and worst case is people don't use the Magic slot.
yeah.
I don't know if it comes with just a cover over it if you're not using it, but I think it's a good change to the current offerings or the previous offerings, I guess, where they're actually trying to do something different. Where normally Samsung would be the ones to kind of try something like that. So,
Right.
uh, and on that note, is the S7 and Edge much different than the S6 and the
Um,
S6 Edge?
First, what I'll say, I just want to. One of your microphones is like wobbling, and I don't know which one, but check.
Wobbling.
I
How
just
do
hear
you
like
know
a.
it's wobbling?
Anyways, um, first of all, so on the G5, the Magic slot is it's more like a compact flash slot where it's like or like a Game Boy cartridge.
Right.
It's like the whole chin of the phone comes off, and
Okay.
you like it's almost like the magazine on a gun where you have to like take it out and then slot the whole thing in, but it's like the main body inside the phone,
Right.
which is a pretty weird implementation if I'm being honest, but I guess that's where we're going. What I have heard is the S7 is kind of taking the best things about previous generations and bringing them back. It's almost like Survivor. They keep having like all-star episodes or seasons
Right.
where they bring back all the best stuff. So like this one has an SD slot where I think last year's didn't. Like
Oh.
there's anytime something was sort of complained about being removed, they've brought some of those things back, some of the best ones.
Hmm.
I guess people like their SD slots. I don't really want one, but
I have one. I'm not using it right now, but we found it actually quite useful when we were on holiday and we had pictures that we had taken on our point and shoot because it has a
okay,
waterproof case and just an optical zoom and all that kind of stuff and better image processing in a
right,
sense. Megapixel wise, our phones were actually better, but the camera itself was seemed to take better pictures.
right.
But we were able to buy a micro SD with the adapter, use it with the camera, and then swap the micro SD to the phone to actually upload and send
Share and all that.
pictures and share
Hmm.
the pictures. Yeah, versus either plugging into a computer and then doing it through there, or getting a Wi-Fi camera or a Wi-Fi SD card, any of that kind of stuff. It's a lot easier when you have the ability to swap out the SD from one device to the other. So that's what we were able to do, and so the SD slot came in handy for that. But on a day-to-day basis, I don't really need it because I don't carry music uh, on my person. I just use the radio or podcasts, and I've never really encountered a time where that's what's taking up the most room. Usually it's apps,
Okay.
and previously I'd been limited to 16 gigabyte capacity. So my current phone has 32 now, so I should be set
Right.
that for the most part, for the foreseeable future anyway.
The nice thing to me about the S7 is even though they added back this extra slot, they've actually managed to rate it as waterproof now.
Oh,
And so they didn't actually add any slot to put the SD card back. What they did was um, in the SIM tray, there's just an extra slot beside it where you put the SD card, which I thought was kind of a neat implementation.
that's how most are. But both phones that I've had SD slots have had that implementation, like
Like
behind the
there's a
battery.
tray that
Yeah.
slides out and has both.
Oh, in the actual tray.
Yeah,
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah. So no, mine, the SIM is behind the battery because it's a removable battery. So you take the
right.
battery out and then put the SIM and the SD behind the battery in its own slots. So this one does it have a removable battery?
I don't remember.
If it has the tray, it sounds like it wouldn't because I think
Yeah,
they,
I think it wouldn't,
yeah.
but yeah,
That's impressive that it has an SD tray or a SIM tray and is waterproof.
yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Well, yeah. It's not bad. And they all like they did. I think it was Verizon or something. One of the American carriers did an unboxing underwater. So that was a pretty interesting take
Hmm.
on making unboxing videos interesting.
Right. Huh.
But yeah, overall, other than those two announcements, I think most of the stuff that came out is just not interesting at all.
What happened in VR that you were saying?
I mean, there's a camera that Samsung is making with their
Oh, that yeah.
S7. Um, it's like there's a 360 camera and there's a VR headset that goes with it, which I mean, it looks cool, but we'll see how 360 and VR gets. I still think it's kind of in the nascent era where it'll be big in a few years, but it's not there yet. But we'll see.
There's another. I can't remember if it was Sony or LG that released like 4 or 5. I think they're like connected devices that they increase the connectivity of your home for various things. I know that's not saying anything, but I know that was a thing. They're like, oh, so and so's came out with literally 4 or 5 different devices that were connected home focused, but I
Okay,
can't remember off the top of my head what it was.
right.
Clearly, they were very big announcements,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know. It's weird because we found the CES underwhelming, and this was underwhelming. I don't know. Are we just too accustomed to news? Like, I think the news cycle's changed that you just hear about stuff anyway. Like,
Yeah.
you
You
don't
don't
need a
need
huge
that
event,
big.
right? Yeah.
What it's supposed to be, I think, like Samsung and LG are big enough that they could stand on their own and make their own announcements. Like Apple already has done that. They used to kind of go to conferences and show off stuff at them, but now they just have their own events. It's more for the smaller guys to get people like journalists and stuff to come to the events. I'm assuming that LG and Samsung get paid a little bit of money to come and show off
Right.
their stuff at these events because otherwise there's really no reason for any journalists to go. It'll just be a bunch of people selling stuff back and forth to one another.
Right.
But those are the big draws that get people to actually come out. And then they're like it's in Barcelona, so you get journalists to Barcelona, they're gonna like check out other stuff than just the two big phones.
Right.
Yeah, but in general, yeah, you're right. I think with those kind of big like CES and Mobile World Congress, that's really what it is. Is it's a place to get the smaller
Yeah.
manufacturers to come.
Well, and I think CS is a good place for that as far as the literal consumer electronics goes because you don't have Sony making smart vacuums, right? But you have someone out of wherever, place in California that's trying to enter the market with this, right?
Right,
So, and I think it offers them a chance to at the very least have other people, like other companies there to look into their product and possibly buy them or hire them or whatever, right? Like I think it serves that dual purpose versus a stage for the big players.
right.
And yeah, and then, consumer electronics isn't giant for the big players, but like the same way that phones and computers are.
Yeah. So, Nick, can I ask you a question? I want to know, as a layperson, what did you hear anything that came out of Mobile World Congress? Are you like you're still not in the phone buying mood? So,
Well, I will say that I think for people who might have been watching that last segment, in which I actually got up and left for a second, I think that'll tell you all you need to know about my sentiments towards Mobile World Congress this time around.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much
When's
all.
when's the next Google Nexus coming out?
I mean, the phone will probably come out in the fall.
Okay. That'll be exciting.
Yeah, it really is. That's what you stick
Yeah,
around for now.
and to clarify, it wouldn't be a Google Nexus. Like
It
Google's
could
not the
be.
manufacturer.
A
Well,
Could be
Nexus.
though.
I guess okay, fine, it
I'm
could be.
like a Nexus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Nexus 6 are we on now?
The 6P was the last one, so
Oh, okay.
Could be 7.
could be. I don't think it will be.
Well,
That would
Windows
that would
7
I'm pretty
Windows
sure.
7 was great, so I guess
I feel like there's already been a Nexus 7.
I feel like there already has as well. Uh, at a certain
man.
point, I don't know when when it
Oh,
is,
right.
but these numbers are getting too high again. You can't. You're
Well,
gonna have to start over.
okay, so let's talk about that because Rob, you have a note on here regarding another phone
Yeah.
that we're expecting.
The rest of our follow up I was saying is all pre follow up because it hasn't actually happened yet. There's just things that we've talked about in the past that have been announced or are coming. So yeah, the iPhone. There was a rumor we talked about the iPhone 5Z. That was how I was pronouncing it at the time because it was the 5 SE Special Edition. And I was looking through the archives of 9 to 5 Mac because it's Mark Gurman from 9 to 5 Mac that keeps reporting these things and being right. Every time he wrote the iPhone 5 SE when he was reporting that it was a rumor that was that he had sourced, he put 5 SE in single quotes as though it's like the moniker, but it's not actually necessarily the name they're going to ship with. And then this week they announced. It's actually funny. The articles that came out yesterday when the Apple event that is rumored to be happening in March got pushed back a week. They were saying Apple event delayed. It's like, well, they didn't actually announce anything. It's not really delayed. But this phone has apparently, for the official shipping phone, it will drop the 5, which makes sense because they're on the 6th generation now. And it's just going to be the iPhone SE, and it'll be kind of the cheaper, colorful phone, the one that you get for your 13-year-old if they need if you want to get them their first iPhone, which again may not be necessary. I'm not making passing judgment on that, but it's like the new cheapest phone you get that's probably going to be $0 on contract or $99 on contract. And I'm very intrigued now because it seems more like, as opposed to being a 2-year-old phone, it seems more like it's just going to be like almost a modern phone, just smaller, just 4 inches, and that gives me much more hope than them sticking kind of 2-year-old internals into a different sized case or a different shaped case.
Yeah, you mentioned the intent of the 5C, what it was, being colorful and what you buy for your kid. This one, in on paper, it probably is a similar standard of device as far as internal specs go, but it seems like they're making it a less expensive variant that's equally as nice looking and that you'd be as proud to have as the 6 variants.
Yeah.
So I think, and I think maybe because kids in general would want a nice looking phone too. They wouldn't necessarily want the teeny bopper looking phone.
Right.
Like they want the same kind their parents have and that Steve Jobs has or whatever. Well, not Steve Jobs these days. You know what I mean, right? That like they want to emulate, people they look up to. They don't want to be treated like a kitty with a little kitty phone.
Right.
And it's funny because since the rumor broke of the SE versus the 5 SE, all the news sites have been reporting it as SE now. Like,
Yeah.
so Mark Gurman's got quite a bit of clout in the Apple news
It
world.
really does.
Yeah.
Actually, before we leave this story, I'm tied to the second thing that came out about the new iPad, the fact that it's going to apparently be a smaller iPad Pro as opposed to being a new iPad Air. And this is particularly relevant to me because mine is getting super old and I want to get a new one. But also for Valentine's Day, I bought Julia an iPad, and I told her at the time, in about a month, they're probably going to be releasing a new one. So let me know if you want to wait. Like, we'll have it for 2 weeks, try it out, which the 2 weeks ends on Wednesday. Try it out, and then if you want to get the new one, I'll just take it back, and in a couple weeks, I'll get you the new one when it comes out. So I'm very intrigued because it might mean that we have a new iPad that is professional, like we can get a pencil too.
You mean
And
Julia will have a new iPad?
there will be a new iPad in the house. Also get one, but we'll see how that goes.
So
But,
I thought you guys had an iPad already.
Yeah, but it's like 4 years old now.
And that one's yours.
Mine's the newest one, and I think it came out end of 2012.
Okay.
I'm very behind.
So does Julie have an old one as well?
She has the one that came out just before mine.
Okay.
The last iPad that wasn't Lightning.
Okay. Whoa, that's really old.
Yeah, I know. It's super old.
Like with like the giant like plug-in thing.
Yeah.
That's like
30
I don't know
pins.
how many pins, but yeah,
30.
the iPod style pin.
Was that a joke? I don't know how many pins it has. You'd have to count them all.
No, never mind. There's a Twitter conversation about like, oh, actually it's 24 pins. Oh, actually it's 30. Like, I don't
Just
know if
30.
different
Yeah. It's a 30
In
pin
stark
connector.
contrast, on Valentine's Day, Kai and I went to Body Worlds, which I'm actually surprised we didn't talk about on Future Chat.
What is that? Did I just hear birthday yelled?
Yeah,
it's not
it was-
Valentine's Day, it's her birthday.
Yeah,
That's
I
true.
know.
Yes, it is Kai's birthday and Ferris Wheel Day. That is how we celebrate it.
So
What is
Body
Body
Worlds
Works?
isn't new though. We went to
You've
Body
not
Worlds
seen-
like 6 years ago. 5 years ago.
Yeah, have you not seen Body Worlds?
Is it the
Or
thing
Rob?
with the naked, not naked, skinless people and like?
I mean, they are naked.
Scandalous!
They are naked in that they're not wearing clothes, but
Yeah.
they don't have much of their skin either.
Right.
And often they peeled off a lot of the muscle. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Is it supposed to be romantic?
No.
Well, if you have like the actual anatomical heart there plasticized in front of you from a dead person,
Mhm.
who needs the weird cartoonish version?
I suppose that is true.
Like Body Worlds did come out 5 or 6 years ago. Like as far as addressing your question, Nick, I think that's probably
Yeah.
why we didn't talk about it.
Oh no, it's just because it finally came, or it finally, while we were here, it came to Telus Spark.
I'd seen it in New York prior.
Okay,
Rob.
but Rob highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Like,
Cool. Well, I was actually in New York for Valentine's Day. That was our like Valentine's Day thing, and then came back to a new iPad.
So did
wow.
you buy the iPad in the States?
No,
Because it probably would have been cheaper there.
it would not. I checked.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
They adjusted the prices, and so yeah, more expensive
Oh.
there. Not by much, but it's not cheap enough to make it worthwhile.
Right. Sneak it past
Also-
Border Patrol.
Probably have to. Well, if you were being honest
Honest.
about it, you'd have to declare it on your way back, depending on how long you were there.
Yeah. We'd have to declare it, but I don't think we have to pay anything for it.
It depends on the mood of the border guy.
Well,
No, like
it-
actually.
Yeah, I know.
legally, it depends on how much you purchased during your stay and how long your stay was.
Right. I think we would have been under the limit, but not by much, probably. I think
I
it's
see.
$800,
I don't. It depends on how long you were there.
like 3 or 4 days. It's
That
all very
sounds
dependent.
Anyway.
Yes.
So I'll stick to my very small follow-up. I'm really excited actually more to follow up on this next week because, like I said, the rest of our follow-up hasn't happened yet. but I ordered Soylent 2.0 on Thursday, and it's coming on Monday, tomorrow. And I'm very excited because it's different.
I have heard very good things. I also think it's interesting because I guess that's never what Soylent wanted.
Yeah,
Like,
they didn't.
because their whole vision, or I forget the founder's name, but his whole vision
Rob
was,
Reinhardt.
you'd have this powder that could just be transported everywhere for cheap because it's
Yeah.
powder,
Mhm.
and that would be like the most efficient method of calorie nutrition delivery out there.
Yeah.
And then people wanted bottles, and he's like, "Fine, I'll give up on my dream. It's cool."
Yeah.
I think his name was Ted Soylent. That was the founder's name.
His name
Theodore
is Rob
Soylent among
Reinhardt.
his peers.
But so yeah, I actually ordered 12 bottles, and I also ordered just the 7 days of powder. 'Cause mostly I want to try it. I'm not against trying it, but
Yeah.
I like the powder, but Julia wants to. She doesn't get along with the powder, just taste-wise and texture-wise, and so
I'll give you an update
she's
on
gonna try it.
our Soylent journey because
sure.
Rhea jumped on the Soylent train, and at first she found it disgusting because she was making it wrong. But after she started making it correctly and having it sit in the fridge,
Yeah,
she actually likes the taste. Actually likes it. Not just tolerates it, but she's like, yeah, I like it. So
Mhm.
there you go.
so it takes some getting
Here's
used
a
to.
win. It does. It's an acquired taste.
I
Which
still like it better with blueberries.
I'll point out, Rob, that your whole thing against coffee and people saying it's an acquired taste, your response is, well, why would I want to try to like something that I don't like? So
Well, yeah, I understand that. The difference being I don't take it personally. I don't take the benefits from coffee.
okay, Rob.
I'm not saying there aren't any. I don't say you people are crazy for liking coffee. I do maybe sometimes the extent to which people like coffee confuses me, but I don't hate the coffee drinkers. I just don't like the coffee for myself.
Okay, have you ever met a crackhead, Rob, who is just all about crack
No.
because of how good it makes you feel? What if, not quite as extreme and life-destroying, but similar sort of deal, but you actually enjoy the taste and smell too?
And it's socially acceptable.
Yeah, and totally legal. Because withdrawal symptoms won't kill you.
You're saying a lot of things right now.
We are saying a lot of things right now.
It seems
Rob?
like you're drawing comparisons that aren't fair.
Come over to the dark side, Rob.
I'm never going to. The fact that
I'll
I've been
never
awake,
join you!
Just try it, Rob. Just try an ice cap. Try a frappuccino.
I
You
don't,
can
I
barely
don't
taste the
want it.
coffee.
Oh, the Dairy Queen Moo Lattes
Oh,
are
no.
to die for.
I forgot about those.
That was the first coffee beverage I actually enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to do that, but you can keep trying. So yeah, Soylent, I'll report back next week on how the bottles work out. I probably won't try them because it's easier for me. Like Rob Reinhardt, the founder of Soylent, I am probably like the reason that I like the Soylent powder is that I can just bring a bag to work and that's a week's worth of meals. I don't have to carry liters of water along with me to do that.
Is it water or is it oil?
Water.
Well, it's not an oil-based beverage.
Well, Boost is. That's what I'm asking. Like, as far as what's inside the bottle to make it liquidy.
It's just oil, really, in Boost?
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
How do...
that's horrible.
Read the ingredient. Well, okay, I'll clarify. I don't know if it's just water. I can't imagine combining oil and water, though.
I was going to say there's got to be an emulsifier in there, because otherwise that's... Like, how can you drink a little bottle of oil for less than 500 calories? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I imagine
Although
there's some
you'd have
water
to-
in there.
I was going to say, but your skin and hair would be totally shiny and beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, so the last piece of our pre-follow-up.
Okay,
Last week we were
real-time
talking...
follow-up, it does have water. But
Some-
it also
luckily.
has, it says less than 2% of vegetable oil, etc., etc.
Okay.
So it is apparently
Okay.
mostly water and milk protein concentrate. So
Hmm.
my apologies
That makes-
for giving them a bad rap.
They still get a bad rap, just not for that.
Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah, so SpaceX was doing their mission. Uh, Apparently, this is a much heavier mission, and so it requires much faster speeds. They were supposed to be doing it right after our show last week. They ended up scrubbing that for the weather, and then it was postponed to Monday last week, and they postponed that as well due to weather, which means for an entire week we were sitting there waiting, wondering when they were going to do this. And I looked, and this morning they're saying they're going to try to go today, so almost immediately after we record this show, and then with a backup of tomorrow again.
And I'm
And-
gonna be at work.
I know. Well, it's at 6:47 Eastern, so you might not be, or you might be just getting out.
Also, I just realized this. Tomorrow is draft day, and I have the day off.
It's not draft day. It's trade deadline day.
Or trade deadline day, sorry.
Have a draft in the middle of the season.
I'm
That'd
just
be fun.
gonna throw my Leaf sweater on over my boxers and just spend the day like that. It's gonna be beautiful.
So
We're gonna
so
get all the picks.
Are you gonna are you guys gonna get Stamkos? Are you gonna get Stamkos?
Hashtag Stamcock 2016, Mike. Get on the train.
Oh,
Uh,
It's all going according to plan. All of it.
get
I
rid
didn't
of
think any of it was possible. We got Loophole Lou Lambarillo. We got Brendan Shanahan with the Shana plan. We got Mike Babcock. What's impossible?
you
What's
guys got-
impossible now?
you guys got rid of Reimer, and you
No,
got
we
rid
didn't.
of the yeah you did.
Don't.
You guys
No. What?
oh
We
you didn't.
Is this the first I'm hearing of this?
Nick, did you not hear about
You
this
did not hear
yesterday?
about that?
Oh my god, I was living under a rock yesterday.
Are you serious? Oh,
Oh
wow.
my god. No!
This is the best.
Oh god! I was at the Home and Garden show. I didn't look at my phone all day.
Oh,
No!
that's so good.
That's
What
why
did we get?
because
Nobody.
no one.
Nobody good.
We traded Jeremy Morin, okay, for Alex Stalick. That's not quite Stamcock. It's close. Ben Smith, a conditional fourth rounder. Jesus.
So, okay, Nick, the condition of that fourth round pick is if they get if the Sharks make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, it moves up one round from fifth to fourth round pick. Oh, I love this. I love that. This is live.
All the bad words. I want to say all of them, every last one of them. Oh!
That was the best reaction I could have hoped for.
Oh,
Why?
how did you not hear about this all day?
He doesn't follow TSN. You gotta follow TSN on Facebook, Nick.
Facebook, Twitter.
Or Twitter, whatever. Well, he doesn't use Twitter, so.
What?
Like, you didn't watch the game? You didn't. What happened?
No, I didn't do anything yesterday. I was hanging out with Kaya's family.
There's your problem.
Nick,
They
you
don't watch
did-
hockey.
Nick, what's your advice? Religion, family, friends. These are the three demons you must slay,
to be successful in life.
and to follow the NHL. Clearly.
Oh, damn it. What?
Oh, this is.
Anyway.
I mean, he's a pending UFA, but God, sign him. His record with the Leafs is 188, 85, and 76. And the Leafs were terrible when he was in goal.
Oh,
Are we going on with the show? Like, do I have to do this?
I think you have to do this.
Do you need time to mourn?
Yes!
To grieve?
Optimus Rhyme! The Rhine Minister of Defense is gone!
You know your team's good when it's not a defenseman that's the Prime Minister of Defense.
It's true. It's really true.
No,
Also,
on
that
our team, that was Dion Phaneuf, and now he's gone too.
oh, P.S. Everyone booed him last night. Every time he touched the puck
Oh, for Christ's sakes. Wait, where?
in
Who?
Calgary.
Oh, in Calgary, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Oh
But
man,
except,
that's so good.
he got traded,
Yeah,
so
I know. I was confused too, but I joined in, so I
you
wasn't like,
see, Leafs fans always booed Alfredson, and that made sense because of, well, you can read about it in my blog, but he had a dirty hit on Darcy Tucker in the playoffs, which led to a goal, and it was just never called off. So just forever onwards, we booed him. When he was with the Senators, when he was with the Detroit Red Wings, we booed him. And then when a Leafs captain touched the puck in Ottawa, they booed the captain because they were like, "Just show you, you boo our captain. We will boo your captain." Ha ha! You're Ottawa Senators fans.
So, I'm gonna get this back on track, and
That's
we're
fine.
gonna
I don't
keep
care. Do what
watching.
you want. This is.
Yeah, nothing else matters.
I'm gonna be reading. Have fun, guys.
So SpaceX will keep updated, but the one thing that I think is important to note about this latest one is that apparently they need to get this rocket, they need to get the payload of this rocket to really high speeds. That's just, I mean, it's one of the things that needs to do is boost it up to really high speeds. So this rocket's going to be going really fast by the time it kind of needs to come back to Earth. Like it's going to be fast almost in orbit. And so they're saying that while the mission is still to have the booster try to land on the ocean drone or on the drone ship, they're probably not going to land it. They're already saying this is not like we're going to try it, but really this probably isn't going to work because it's going to be going very fast. So which also means that it needs to use, like, it was going really fast and it needs to go even faster, which means that they need to use even more fuel, which means there's less fuel to try to land it. And so really they're like, we'll go for it, but it might just literally just slam down on the drone ship and just explode completely. So we'll have to see.
I wonder if SpaceX is actually making money on these missions, or if it's more approaching it as subsidized research. So they're still spending money on it. It's just supplemented by the government's.
I think there's some money, but the goal is to lower the cost even more.
Right. What I mean is, like, do you think, like, if they're having to actually build new thrusters and all that kind of stuff every time, are they getting fully paid to cover those costs, or is it like the government's paying, whatever? So they're like as in SpaceX would be doing this research anyway. It's more that they have the chance to do missions while they're at it and get subsidized for it. But
yeah, I don't know. I think they still do, but I think their goal is overall to make it cheaper.
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for follow-ups. Let's move on. Nick, you can keep reading, Nick. But Mike, you wanted to talk about paywalls, and I think you've wanted to do this for a little while. So ad blocking and ad blocking behind paywalls. What's going on?
Well, I don't know if this is recently, but people seem to be getting very uppity about sites that have ads, period, and prevent you from using ad blockers to not see those ads. And I don't know why, but it seems that the general public's very entitled to free, high-quality content. And I don't know why there's that expectation, because to hire writers costs money, and to hire good writers costs more money. So if you want good content, then someone has to pay for it, and these sites don't run for free. So to make money, they need ads. But when you block those ads, that defeats the purpose of them. So obviously the site is going to say, hey, you can't read our content if you're not going to buy into the system. Mm-hmm. So I don't see what the huge issue is. And paywalls are the same thing. Like, aside from academic papers that have paywalls, and that's its own thing. But say with, The Onion or Slate or any of those sites that have, X number of free articles per month, and after that you have to pay for it, whether it's region based or not. I don't think, like, I understand why they're doing that. I disagree more with paywalls than I do with ads. I'd rather have ads than have a paywall. But I understand why they have these paywalls, because again, they'd rather have 50% readership but 100% payment versus 100% readership and 0 to 25% payment, whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Because they need to keep their lights on, and to keep generating content, they need to be paying their people. So, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on this. I know, Rob, you've used ad blockers in the past, and both you and I have gone around paywalls in various ways.
Well,
but
it's not going around a paywall. It's really not.
It's a very, very easy passive way to do it.
Yeah, it's knowing a loophole that lets you
Right.
go around, which, by the way, is now closed.
Not for every. I think it still works with Slate stuff, doesn't it?
Slate is, I'm talking. The New York Times paywall is the most well-known one, and it used to be that if you just Google the headline, Wall Street Journal articles, you can go in, and if you click on the story through Google, it would let you through, but now it blocks it too.
Oh, really? What about the Wall Street Journal? I think they had a similar one.
That's what we're talking about.
You just said New York Times.
Wait, I'm thinking of a Wall Street Journal. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
The Wall Street is in New York. I don't know if you know that. I was just there. But yes, no, I meant the Wall Street Journal.
Okay. So here, tell me what your thoughts are on this.
The thing that I don't necessarily like, I don't like seeing a paywall. I don't like seeing a thing that says you can't read this unless you pay us. But the weird thing that I'm encountering now more and more is, hey, like a little box, hey, I see you have an ad blocker installed. Consider putting us on your whitelist, which has slowly transitioned to a pop-up that takes over the entire screen and says, hey, we see you have an ad blocker installed. You can read this if you put us on your ad block whitelist. And that has, every time so far I've come across that, I have just closed the window and been like, there's other stuff out there. I don't necessarily need to read this. I haven't had something that I needed to read so much that I was willing to go and I have no whitelist on my thing. It just sits there and works.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. My only thoughts are, I've not had content so compelling that, for reading, I mean, that I was willing to turn off ad block in order to read. And that's kind of my situation at this point. I get that advertising needs to happen, but if you're going to take it so far that you're willing to turn people away who aren't willing to pay, then you're going to get some people that are just not going to read your site anymore, and you're going to get some people that are going to pay. And if that works out financially for you, then that's fine. But if it doesn't, then you have to rethink it.
Nick?
I'm going to do what I do so very often in this show and reference Planet Money and say that, like, no, because honestly, websites are typically treated as free with people. Yeah. Like, it's just a free thing that you get to read. And it's just assumed that, like, clicks or something, or in the parlance of South Park's Blame Canada? No. South Park's episode with Canada on strike.
Okay.
They just want to get some of that magic internet money, just give us some of that magic internet money. But people get wacky when it comes to things that are free that are suddenly not treated as free.
Right.
And there's just kind of a lack of cognition or a mental block with appreciating that ads are the reason that the site is there for you to enjoy. And yeah, like, the money has to come from somewhere, and if the person reading the page is not a revenue stream, then I can see why you would block them from reading the content.
Yeah.
Like, it totally makes sense. But people are up in arms because, what? This was free before, but those ads were annoying, so I got something that would stop the ads, and how dare you?
Yeah.
Like, I'm usually fine adding to a whitelist if it's a reputable site.
Mm-hmm.
I basically have the ad blocker for, pop-ups that are going to be malicious in some fashion.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I get both ends of, like, I get why people are reacting the way they are. I get why people use ad block because I use it too. And I also get why sites would say, well, if you want to use an ad blocker, then we're not going to allow you to enjoy the content because you're not going to be part of our revenue stream.
Hmm.
Right.
It's all just ad blocker is kind of like James Reimer, I think. It's just not getting the respect that he deserves. And a bunch of sites are like, well, let's just ship him out then. He's not doing anything for us lately. And I'm
Mhm.
like, why? Why? Yeah,
So, Nick,
that was reaching.
and
I
Mike,
know.
I guess. Have you heard of a program called Google Contributor?
No.
This is a thing that I think it's not, I think it's just for states so far. But what it is a thing that kind of the defeats the whole paywall structure in that when your site has a paywall, you need people to like your site so much they're willing to pay just to look at your website. And so if I go and want to read all the best things, I'm going to have to pay like 50 different paywalls. And
Yeah.
like, there's no way, it's not my job. Like, I can't subsidize all that reading. I can't subsidize reading every site when I have to pay a separate paywall for each one. So Google Contributor is basically a subscription thing that works with Google's ad networks on a bunch of different sites. And so you pay every month and you pay Google Contributor, and it gives out, it's basically YouTube Red for reading, in that
Oh.
it gives you a subscription fee, and any sites you read get a bit of the money that you paid in. And it's not available in Canada yet, so I've been looking at it it's probably been out for about a year, and I guess kind of a beta. Right now, if you go to contributor.google.com, you get a join the waitlist pop-up thing, and it talks about how the site works, or how it works. But that is something that I'd be more kind of, I would at least consider doing it.
Hmm.
Whereas I can't consider paying even like 5 sites, $5 or $10 a month. I just can't.
Yeah.
There's some paywalls are, I think it's like 99 cents a month, which is better, but
Yeah.
still, if you want to read any number of actual like websites, like I'm not going to get all my news from the New York Times or Wall Street Journal. I can't just do that for every site.
Right.
And it's kind of a thing where I hate using the term slippery slope, but it's like, if those kind of sites get successful, charging 99 cents a month, every site is going to start doing that, and then my entire RSS feed, like all the feeds, are going to be something that's paid 99 cents a piece to see.
Right.
And so I much prefer the kind of YouTube Red subscription style thing where you'd have a network of sites that all go put into the system, and then whatever gets read the most gets the most money. Just like that seems equitable, but at the same time, I don't know if it's sustainable like that, because it
I mean,
requires.
also you're generating revenue from readers who wouldn't be a revenue generator otherwise.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
seems like a great system.
Yeah, it's like a distributed cost type thing, because I'll use as an example, one hotel we stayed at, or we're looking to staying at, they had a water park. This is in Mexico. They had a water park, or Dominican, sorry. They had a water park on site, but it cost $20 a visit to go there.
Okay.
Even though you're already paying to stay in the hotel, it was an additional $20 if you want to go to this water park.
Right.
And we're saying, how easy would it be to tack on an extra $1 a night to every hotel room and just make it free, so that the people who would use it would be able to go and not have that cost be a barrier, and they'd actually get use out of the water park, and anyone else who wouldn't use it, they wouldn't notice the cost difference anyway, because it's only an extra buck on $120 a night room. So it's a similar kind of concept with this Google Distributor or YouTube Red for that matter, where you have a bunch of people paying into it a little bit so that everyone can kind of benefit from it.
Yeah.
So and on that same note, even if you're a smaller site or a smaller YouTube channel, you can still get revenue because you're buying into the system versus still relying on people to subscribe to just your content.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm the same way, right? I'll pay, a one-time, couple buck cost for an app, or yeah, and I'll even like RSS. There's some that say, that parse the content so that you can't read the entire article. You just read the first paragraph.
Yeah.
And they have to click into the site. I'm okay with that because I understand that they need that revenue. But yeah, with paywalls, I probably just wouldn't read it, or I'd try going incognito, see if that works, and if that doesn't work, then okay, I guess I can't read it. The other thing is that a lot of sites, especially with tech news and world news, they'll have other news sites pick up the story and run it. Obviously abbreviated content, but you get the gist of it anyway, and it's free. So I think I'd be fine with that if the other option was paying into a $5 per month paywall.
Yeah.
So
that's also like the argument for income taxes. A bunch of people contribute a little bit to make,
so
large
nice
projects that everyone can benefit from.
Yeah.
Can I just say, from YouTube Red, Future Chat has made 2 cents in the last 28 days.
Woo!
I thought so. Canadian channels are allowed to buy into YouTube Red, even though YouTube Red isn't in Canada yet.
It's just all like if a YouTube Red subscriber watches our video.
Oh. Nice.
In the last lifetime since YouTube Red started, 4 cents.
Woo!
This trend continues.
At this rate,
it's
doubling every month.
Yes, that's the trend.
It's no, it's not doubling per month, but I understand where that's coming from. Yeah, it's all from the Touch ID video.
Oh, it's not even Future Chat, or is that a Future Chat video?
It's on the Future Chat channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, it's an interesting model. I'm intrigued to see kind of if and when it launches more globally. I know there are a lot of sites like 9to5 Mac and 9to5 Google and all of that could probably monetize the network in that way. Like if you subscribe to all of their sites, they would give you They would give you the ability to read everything for one flat rate, but
you're still locked into just their stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The odds are it's probably pretty slim that people would want to read Google News and Apple News and Windows News, like all the different sites they have.
Yeah.
Unless they're journalists, and then there are other places, like there are premium kind of subscription things. Like I think there's one called The Information, where it's like $400 a year, and they have exclusive content. Like it's really just, hey journalists, here's news, and it's very expensive because it's a business. Like they're trying to attract groups of journalists or big sites that are going to be willing to pay top dollar for the news.
Right.
But it's not really like no individual person is going to pay more than $1 a day to have access to this one website to read their content.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about academic paywalls because this just kind of happened to be a related story that I thought of both at the same time. Because there's a story that Vox ran where they profiled a person who is compiling a database, I guess, of academic papers that would otherwise be behind paywalls, but she's downloading them and re-uploading them onto her site and making them available for free.
Right.
And what happens is they'll get a request for a paper, and she'll go search whatever paper sites that she has, use logins that have reportedly been donated, and download the paper, re-upload them on her site, and offer it for free. So there's obviously a bit of a turnaround time on that, but if you don't really care, then I guess this site does what it needs to.
Right.
And it obviously is under a lot of criticism because she's essentially doing something illegal, and the only reason she's not being able to be persecuted is because prosecuted, not persecuted.
I was going to say a little bit of both. Maybe.
A little bit of both. Is that her site is hosted off, like not offshore, but
Okay.
internationally in a place where those laws don't apply, at least the U.S. laws. So
Mm.
similar to
Pirate Bay.
Mega Upload was the latest.
Yeah, and Pirate Bay and all that.
Yeah, all those, but Mega Upload with what's his face?
Kim.com.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
I just remember reading a profile on him recently. But yeah, his was a similar type thing where he was
Still
uploading. Is he still?
Mega. Yeah.
Is Mega Upload still a thing? Okay.
It's just called Mega now. But I don't think he's necessarily involved with it anymore.
No. He's living in Australia, I think.
Yeah.
Or New Zealand or something. In this mansion.
Yes.
But anyway, this other site is doing the same thing for academic papers, and it's kind of along the same lines. I understand why there's paywalls, but I think with academic stuff in general, there's a lot more. I don't want to call it scamminess, but it's very. I don't know. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of.
Horrifically expensive, prohibitively expensive, unless you have academic credentials.
Yeah, prohibitively expensive is one way to put it. The other thing is that the creators of the content aren't even seeing any benefit from a lot of these paywalls.
Right.
Because
Not at all.
not if at all. So that's the other thing that sucks, because yeah, if I was contributing to the scientist program by buying his paper, I'd be a lot more inclined to do that. But these are going to these sites that exist solely to offer these papers for a fee to people who are trying to do research. And it's one thing people who are trying to download music or watch videos or whatever, but this is like people trying to do actual constructive things for society, and they're being kind of prevented by it because of these paywalls.
Right.
But
Dr. Carolyn Higman once authored a paper which she did not have access to at the University of Ottawa. So, yeah, she wrote the thing and then went, oh, hey, guys, can anyone actually read this? Because it's behind a paywall for me, which is just absurd.
Yeah.
So interestingly, I think we've talked about this before, but NSERC, if you get NSERC funds or any of the, I think any of the Tri-Council, SHRC, NSERC, or CIHR, if you get a grant, you have to make your articles freely available after 12 months. So you can submit them to any journal you want. But it either has to be an open access journal from the beginning, or you, like after 12 months, you have to make a digital copy available online for free.
Where's that library? Or just anywhere online?
You have to just make it anywhere online, yeah. So I know, like, Dave Bryce, my old supervisor, just keeps a copy of, like, a PDF copy of every paper he's published on his website. So that I think that normally would be what you'd end up doing unless you submit to an open access journal.
Right.
But it's all, like, I really like that, because again, like, my paper is behind a paywall, and so the only way I can see it is through Dave's site.
Hey, Rob, what's your AirDish number?
I don't know. Small. No, wait, big? I don't know how it works.
I was going to say, I think big.
Yeah. You should look up your bacon number too.
Have you ever heard of Graham's number? I think it's slightly bigger.
You think your AirDish number is bigger than Graham's number?
Yeah.
No, you're probably closer than you think. That's the whole point, is that a lot of people's numbers are lower than they'd think because AirDish has written so many papers and co-authored so many papers. But
maybe I'm thinking of impact factor.
You're probably thinking of impact factor. AirDish number is the degrees of separation from someone who's co-authored with AirDish.
Okay. Is there like a site to look that up?
Probably.
Okay.
It depends how obscure the authors of your paper have been. But if you co-authored with Dave Bryce and Dave Bryce has co-authored a bunch, then he's probably got something.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else to say on paywalls or ad block?
I think I'm good.
Okay. In that case, I don't know. I wanted to talk with you guys about diet, like just in general. And I know we've talked about this in the past, like the terribleness of diets. This week, I came across. This is kind of. it's a story about how a scientific study was flawed and terrible, talking about the paleo diet and how one of the studies that they did to prove that it was like a reasonable diet and a good thing to do is just completely flawed, and that the paleo diet, if you actually adhere to it properly, might be really dangerous, not only making you unhealthy, but making you actively worse off than if you had just kind of eaten even junk food. And I just dieting, the diet that I have been on for the last 6 months hasn't been necessarily easy, but it's been literally all about willpower and analytics, really. Like for the last 6 months and a bit since the beginning of July, I have literally weighed myself at least once a day, to the point that I now know no matter how much I eat, or sorry, not no matter how much I eat, but I can know if I, given a certain amount that I eat, what weight I will be the following day. And so I can very much control. I can say, I'm a little bit hungry right now. It's 7 p.m. But if I eat right now, I will gain X amount of weight or not lose X amount of weight. So if I'm trying to lose weight, which I'm not necessarily trying to do anymore, I know exactly what I need to do to make that happen, because I now kind of have my body pegged. And I, basically, I want to talk a little bit about having an actual diet, like a quote unquote diet, where you follow a set of rules that someone else has laid out because it worked for them or because they're trying to sell you whatever diet, versus finding a set of foods you eat or a way you eat that makes you feel good. And Nick, I know I wouldn't say you necessarily dieted, but you used physical activity like cycling a lot. And I mean, being laid up in a bed for a while obviously helped at least a little bit. But what was your experience in dieting while you were doing all that biking?
I'm not sure which specific time period you're
Well, there
referring
were two,
to.
right? There were two main lots of bike periods. There was one where you were
Yeah,
the
yeah.
instructor, and then there was one when you had your bike and you were back in Ontario.
Actually, that was so there would be. I mean, this past summer I lost a lot of weight too because I was an
Mhm.
instructor again, and I had just gotten out of school in which I sat all day in class and then came home and sat down and studied
Yeah.
in the evening. Then when I was exhausted of all that, I'd sit with Kaya, and so it just became incredibly sedentary. Um, I don't know, like I definitely normalized at a higher weight when I was cycling back in Ontario than when I was cycling with kids all day.
Okay.
Because part of the thing with cycling with kids all day was um, like it. I don't know if this is a common experience to many people, but like lunches and snack times, like you have regular snack times because you're with children, and so you just trying to set a good example. So you eat like an apple or a piece of fruit or something like that,
Okay.
but you eat many of them over the course of the day.
Yeah.
And like being hot and being actively exerting yourself, it I found it suppressed appetite. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
even
For sure.
like I'd usually pack something for lunch in like a bean soup or hummus sort of thing because I found that like the what for whatever reason that helped keep me full and energetic better than other foods,
Right.
but I couldn't eat a whole lot of it. So it was just kind of an ideal situation for just shedding a lot of weight
Hmm.
over a couple months. And I mean, more recently, I've been shedding body fat, but it's more from doing strength training and trying to build lean mass rather than
Right.
rather than through just tons of cardio because I'm working shift work and my it's I guess it's well known that people that do shift work, as less so for me, but more for around the clock shift work, they tend to have uh, a higher body fat percentage because you can't plan your meals as you normally would.
Sure.
Um, what did you ask? What was my experience with?
Yeah, I just like, because for me, the thing that I found most successful, like you counting calories is fine, but and like Weight Watchers, there are all these programs that can help some people lose weight. But for me, the most important thing that I found is physically just literally weighing your food. Like, and I don't mean necessarily with a scale, but like keeping track of how much food you've actually eaten by weight, not by calories, is the most important thing. Like I could eat a whole bunch. Like if I ate 3 pounds of celery, I would gain weight. But I wouldn't gain more weight if I ate 3 pounds of potato chips. It was literally the weight that mattered. And maybe celery is not a great example because it's a lot of water, but like extending that metaphor to like I don't know, green peppers. Like if I ate a lot of food, no matter whether it was healthy food or unhealthy food, it was equal. So if I had a day where I didn't eat that much, but what I ate was junk food, I still didn't gain weight from it.
That, that doesn't make sense.
Why not?
Well, I mean, I think in that scenario you would you would notice a much higher correlation with stool mass than you would with your overall mass.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
I
So
agree.
that's the point. It's like not all weight is equal.
No, not all weight is necessarily equal, but I find that it's much more equal than I had previously assumed. That's what I've found.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, but you're like that's ignoring. Oh, sorry. I think that's paying more attention to noise than signal is the
Yeah.
best analogy I can come up with.
I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about every day. I think overall you're better off eating healthy food, and like my data bears that out. But I'm saying like if you're gonna have a kind of cheat day where you eat junk food, if you don't eat a lot of junk food, you're still gonna come out okay, as opposed to just kind of eating a ton of anything.
I guess because I mean, the flaw in that argument would be if I ate, I don't know, 500 grams of the black bean soup that I love so much.
Yeah.
I feel like the overall trend would be better for my health than if I ate 500 grams of butter every day,
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
because caloric density.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily follow the argument of massive stuff eaten translating to body mass.
Yeah.
Because that's not necessarily body mass, that's just like sorry, it's not mass intrinsic to your body, it's
Yeah.
mass that's traveling through you and being
Yes.
digested,
Right.
I think the main takeaway is just everything in moderation. That's
It,
really the whole because
including moderation.
because extremes on either end, your argument falls apart.
I I mean, it's not necessarily as strong. I don't know if it falls apart. Like for me, basically what I've been doing the last at least 2 months, but possibly longer, is throughout the week I'll be very good at keeping control of the amount that I eat. And then on weekends, as opposed to allowing myself to just eat whatever I want a lot, I will just eat. I'll still eat healthy food, but I'll eat more of it. And that totally like it completely defeats the week of effort almost. Like it brings me almost back up to where I was.
But at that point, like if you're not trying to lose weight, then why would you care?
Well, I agree, and so there's a balance point there where uh, what I need to do is either normal, like having a weekend where my eating habits match my week is probably the hardest part. And so what I basically have to do to stay at the exact kind of in the same weight neighborhood as I am now and eat the way I do on weekends, which I found very difficult to change because I'm with people and you kind of have to conform to their eating to a certain
Well,
degree.
you still want to just enjoy life.
But that's the thing is that I don't not enjoy life. Like I found going and eating an entire bag of chips, it's delicious, but it's not worth it in the end for the way I feel afterwards.
Right.
And that's where it comes back to your point about moderation.
Right.
But what I would have to do to eat the same way I have been on weekends, again, which I found hard to change, is I have to compensate for that by eating correspondingly less during the week. So like the weekend I'll jump back up to, as an example, like around 210. And then by the following Friday, I will have worked it back down to about 205, 206. And then on the weekend it'll go back up to 210.
That sounds more like water weight if it's
Yeah.
increasing that much.
Like you need to do some curve smoothing with your weight data.
I have well no I have been doing curve smoothing like
Like,
that's why on my website I have my weight graph. I have a 10-day average where really it goes up or down by a pound, but like the day-to-day variance isn't that much, but over the course of the week that's what it literally ends up looking like, is
Yeah.
that it goes up and down like that. And I understand that the actual trend is smoother, but physically that's how I feel.
So I'm just gonna go back and like re-describe my weight loss experiences because
Mhm.
like working at bike camp is just the perfect storm of losing weight.
Yeah,
Just because you're physically active all the time and eating, the chances of eating are limited. One, and two, like the eating isn't necessarily as appealing as it would be otherwise, just because you don't feel like it.
right.
But like
Yeah,
the other times when I've lost weight, or like recently when I'm losing inches or body fat percentage, it's more it's more that I'm trying to pay attention to calories, one,
hmm,
and I'm also trying to pay attention to the quality of what I'm eating and how it's going to affect me later.
yeah,
So like, choosing the whole grain stuff over the white stuff,
sure.
like be it bread, tortillas, whatever, because the stuff that's fuller of fiber is going to keep you full for longer. And it's just going to affect your perception. It might be higher in calories, but how you'll feel, like how sated you'll feel, is disproportionate to the amount of calories it is, or the
Yeah,
increased number of calories.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but yeah, it's diet and exercise, man.
Yeah.
That's
On Thursdays, I'm playing volleyball now, and I definitely notice that when 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock rolls around, I'm really hungry unless I've played volleyball that evening, and then I'm just not. Like, I'm completely fine. So I really want to, like, going out and biking the way I did last summer and fall was really great because I got to feel that way every day where I felt like even if I hadn't eaten that much during the course of the day, I could eat a small dinner and I'd be fine.
that's one thing. Heat suppresses appetite, and so when you exercise, you tend to increase your
Yeah,
internal or your core temperature, and so it just you don't feel as hungry despite burning more calories.
right.
Also, fun note on exercise: I went to the come and try session for the Calgary Kangaroos Aussie Rules or AFL club,
Yeah, yeah.
Aussie Rules football. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The balls are very strange. It's like rugby balls. You can try your damnedest when you have control of the thing, but the minute it hits the floor and bounces, it's Monte Carlo. It
Yeah,
could be anywhere,
yeah, for sure. All right, so
and that's my 2 cents on that matter.
are you gonna do it or you just went to see what it was like?
Well, I had a lot of fun, so I'd like to do more of it, but I mean, given that this is the first athletic thing or the first team-based sport I've ever even looked at with passing interest, like they have ample opportunity to go and train with the team. You
Right.
don't necessarily make the team, but
Oh, okay.
you can train with them. And so, you can keep going to training sessions until you feel like you're ready to, you know, be a full-fledged member and potentially join one of the teams.
Right.
One of the neat things about the one like here in town, the organization kind of swells and then divides into more teams as more players become available.
Right.
It's really nice.
You know what I find odd? I was waiting to see if this happened again. At noon every Sunday, your internet speed seems to drop precipitously. Like you're okay now, you didn't freeze or anything, but there's a noticeable drop in quality, and like it got a little bit glitchy. I'm
It's
very
interesting.
intrigued.
Maybe we should just be starting at 8 o'clock every Sunday.
Yeah, I don't know if it's related to you, like your internet, or if it's like your building, or if it's the city. I like it.
I think it's around 10 o'clock on a Sunday in Calgary, and so people are just starting to wake up and stream whatever now.
Right. Huh.
They've activated the Netflix.
Right. Well, Nick, I'm told you have to get to work. Do you? We get to
I
wrap up?
do have to get to work. Sorry?
Can we keep your stories? Because I was looking through and they seem interesting. Can we get to them next week?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to credit my writing staff, Kaya, for 2/3 of those stories.
What did she write? I don't think writing staff is the right word. Like
Research
Or
team?
my
Research
my
team.
research staff, yeah. And also made me breakfast the past 2 weeks.
Oh wow,
Just kind of set it down beside me while I was with you guys.
that's
So
very nice.
it's incredibly nice. That's my research team.
Research and breakfast.
Well, I mean, I can't fully podcast on an empty
No.
stomach.
No, of course not.
This morning was hummus and a bagel.
Ooh, that's nice.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, in that case, thanks for listening to Future Chat this week. We'll be back next week with more science and tech talk. And you can find past episodes of the show and more at unwindmedia.com/futurechat. See you next time.
Ciao.
Toodaloo.
Oh man.
Oh man, I forgot to mention it, but there's a YouTube video that was all over Reddit this week. Did you see How to Lose Weight in 4 Easy Steps?
No. I remember reading a Medium post that I think was titled that, but
You should watch it because it's surefire method of weight loss.
I'm gonna go look.
Don't watch it now. I'll give that
I'm gonna watch it in a
caveat.
second. You know what I've noticed that is really weird?
What's that?
Mashable has become like they republish the front page of Reddit and like write a little description of what it is. That's all Mashable is right now.
Well, there's a huge market for people who aren't necessarily on Reddit but would enjoy the top content.
Of
Yeah.
course. It just seems like such a cop out.
I've decided I don't like the format of upvoted.
The podcast or upvoting and downvoting on Reddit?
Upvoted, the Reddit
Podcast?
publishing service. Like they're
Oh. Yeah,
know,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
It's I don't know. I don't like how it's I don't know. I'd rather have a nicely formatted Reddit thread
Yeah.
without the extra commentary and narrative that they have in those articles.
That's
Fair
just-
enough.
It's not pleasing to me.
There's, I mean, in Hello Internet parlance, that would be, you mean it doesn't give you pleasure?
No?
Yeah, that's, God, they're just insistent on using the phrase gives you pleasure or it gives me pleasure. And I'm like, just sounds so dirty.
Have you gotten to the naughty episode yet?
Yeah, I'm all caught up. I don't know
Okay.
if Mike is.
I'm on episode 2.
What?
I have No intention of continuing.
It's so good.
I know, but I don't have time for it. I
Oh
can keep
man,
up with my YouTube channels. That's it.
It gets much better.
Th-
Also, I am
there's a
really
YouTube
looking
channel.
forward. Sorry, how quickly do you think this is gonna get turned around, Rob?
It could be later today. Why?
Because I'm really curious to hear my, real-time reaction.
Oh,
I hope that we don't have to pay like licensing fees to the Fine Brothers
I hope.
For their
because I
reactions.
reacted live to something on air.
I wonder if we could make that like clip, even the Hangouts one, just go viral. Be like, Leafs fan reacts real time to news of Reimer 1 day after it happens. Because it was perfect. You're like, what? No, he didn't. Wait, did he?
Wait,
How did I miss it? No!
I was at the Home and Garden show.
Then the hands buried in the face. Oh, it was
Yeah.
great.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
What? No, he
So
didn't.
good.
I'll send that. I'll send that to some
You
Leaf-centric
should.
podcasts
Yeah.
to see if we can get some exposure.
Yep.
Oh,
It was really good.
I'm
Yeah,
so
Rob,
just
you should
numb.
separate out that clip as a separate thing, just so we
Sure.
can distribute it.
Yep. The audio and possibly the video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, what were you calling the future chat moments or future chat clips or
Oh yeah.
Future
Whatever
clips,
happened to that? Yeah.
nothing?
How it was just too
Like
much
throw it
work.
in the volcano and exploding balloons, like they're
Yeah.
just not happening.
No.
No.
One of
Alright.
us needs to learn video editing.
I know, right? Some of us need 28 hours in a day.
I'm glad I
Yes.
brought it back to there so I can be depressed for the rest of the day.
I'm gonna
But
stop
I
the
need to
broadcast now.
I need to suit up and